What's going on, everyone? I am finally here to give you all an update on the account. I made a video, I want to say like 3 months ago, that I really wanted to swap the Helios Warblade. Now, the game has changed so much since then. Sky Splitter's gotten a lot more new tools, Whisper, Angel Bow, all these things, new tools, new things, etc. But Helios Warblade has always been something that I've always wanted to try out, fully go into on my main account. I have played around with it a lot on some other accounts, but I wanted to just go in and use it on my main account. I thought it would be fun. And Helios Warblade is still arguably one of the best weapons in the game, especially in potential for the late game. As far as the amount of damage you can pump out and overall build cohesiveness, it's incredible. But like I said, I made that video maybe about 3 months ago. Now, since then, I made a lot of updates. It hasn't just been, okay, I am purely working on swapping over to Helios Warblade. It's been kind of a long time coming because there were so many other factors that I needed to go ahead and work on. And in the meantime, I was still progressing my overall build in general. For example, I finished off a double S ring. I've gotten my Icy Bubble to Mythic. I have, progressed my gear to like level 100s across the board. And actually, I'm going to be getting my final double S Mythic here in my, well, let me go ahead and grab it real quick. The Crimson Dracula chestplate or the Dragon's Breath armor up to a maximum of the Mythic effect. And to be honest, well, yes, I'm leveling it up here. The idea is to swap over to the Revival Cape here. I just wanted to see what my combat power looked like beforehand and afterwards. So we're up to 259 billion combat power. There's a lot of combat power left on the table right now. I really need to sit down and go through my entire account and kind of optimize it a little bit more. But you'll notice I've got myself a Blade of Justice prepared. I've got 2 Dragon Ball rings prepared. I've got the Revival Cape. And I actually, you don't see it here, but I've got the Proof of Glory ready to go here. Well, not ready to go, but I've got the resources to go ahead and bring it up to Legendary so I can use my swap talismans. Because that was the other portion of it. I did need to collect enough swap talismans to be able to go ahead and do this. And where are you, my swap talismans? We got 7, which is, well, right here, we're going to need 5. And then we're also going to need more swap talismans for the Arcanas. The Sky Splitter being the biggest one. If I can at least get the, swap talisman on this, I should be able to get all the Arcanas that's relevant. But that's also a portion of it. Alongside that, not only do I need to swap all my weapons over, so I need to get Legendary of all the different equipment and also, kind of max out because you can't really, you can swap it, but it's a little bit more convenient just to keep progressing, get to Mythic, and then swap talisman it over. One of the big things is the Legacy. And the Inheritance. I hadn't really leveled up Skeleton at all because there wasn't really a reason to up until, again, that update that they did where everything got faster when you upgrade your main aspect because I was working on the Ghost. And you can see I've actually got this pretty much maxed out. I still do upgrade the Ghost every once in a while when I am going to be, not able to pay attention and I'm going to utilize the time here. But I've also been just upgrading all of the different inheritance because I've been running out of books, but I have been prioritizing the skeleton. And as you can see, we are close to tier 6, which is going to allow me to really just pick up all these middle nodes because the middle nodes is what's really important. So technically I didn't even really need to get to tier 6, but I did want to progress this a little bit further. So I had the opportunity to pick up some of the minor nodes on the side. And then, well, when I needed to double up on a lot of these middle nodes, which is going to be a huge portion of the damage for the Helios Warblade. And then on top of that, another focus that I needed to put myself in or focus on here with my account is my brands and heroes. So I needed to get Undead Pirate ready to go, since that's going to be one of the major damage amplifiers in place of the Knight of the End. You still use the Ghost Princess, as we spoke about here in my build video. And then, like I said, the brands, this is probably the biggest time sink. So first off, we had the new Wild Vulture, and usually if you have an epic one, it replaces the legendary effect, and then the legendary double S replaces the mythic Wild Vulture is kind of how the math works out. So we've got that, great. I'm going to be using the White Tiger. Great. Gonna swap that in. And then I'm also going to be using the little Undead Swordsman here. And then for my last one, I'm going to be using the Joker for the meantime, but eventually I'd love the White Robe Wizard. And, honestly, I would also like to use the Bone Club Golem, but I just don't have enough books to go ahead and bring this guy up right now. If I were to, disenchant this, I'd get a lot of night books back, which would be useful. And I could potentially use that. I could also, when I disenchant this, I'm going to get some books back as well. Some skeleton books back, which will be useful. And I could even disenchant the Joker to go ahead and swap those over, honestly. So I may make that decision. The Bone Club Golem is pretty nice. The Joker's kind of a filler piece where the Bone Club Golem will give me that extra crit damage and the heavy blows to start with, which I think is going to be a little bit more valuable. So I can kind of play around a little bit here with my books since, well, I do have some returning to me after I disenchant some of these. Since I won't be needing the Murloc anymore, since the Murloc is just going to be straight up replaced by the White Tiger. But like I said, this has been a long time coming. I needed to get the brands ready. I needed to get the gear ready, get the right legendaries in place. I needed to progress my inheritance. I needed to, basically get all of these things in place, get enough swap talismans to swap everything over. And then after all of that, I could finally make that transition. But in the meantime, I've also been making big upgrades to my account overall, which has been nice too. So it hasn't been all just, oh man, this is just going to take a long time to swap over. But today's the day. Today is the day I'm going to be swapping over, and we're going to be going for it. And we're going to just see where my combat power ends up and overall kind of what that build actually looks like at the end of the thing. So I'll be right back. All right, so it's still not perfect, but here we are. We've lost about 4 billion combat power, which isn't a whole big deal. But let's go ahead and walk through the changes. First off, I'm going to start with actually the pets. And by the way, I still have a couple more changes to make that I haven't quite yet, including the pets. I do want to get the piggy, which I do not have actually yet. And I would swap into the unicorn as well as using the piggy, but I have not actually modified my passive stats, and I'm going to be waiting for a build event for that. So wait on that one. But as you can see, we are fully transitioned over. We've got the Helios Warblade. We've got ourselves the Reinhardt's Resolve, Tyr's Smash, Dragon Pearl Ring, Grand's Wrath, and then the Icy Bubble. In terms of adventurers, we're rocking the Raphael, resonated with the Dragon Girl, as that one has been continuously progressed as I've been playing the game. We are running the Diego still, with a little bit of a different deploy, but pretty standard stuff. Sphinx, Toffee, Catastrophe. Got the, where are ya? Twin Blazing Blades as the artifact of choice. And arguably the most important, got ourselves the new Undead Pirate as a hero. Here's the brands that we're rocking. So we've got ourselves the White Tiger. Got ourselves a +2 Wild Vulture. I was able to get to +2 here because I had some spare resources. +1 Bone Club Golem. I did end up going with Bone Club Golem. And then the Undead Swordsman. The ultimate goal would be to replace my good friend Bone Club Golem with the White Robe Wizard. But really only when that's mythic, because we really want the crit damage cap. Because that's really where you actually see the power of White Robe Wizard. Before that, it's kind of whatever. But that's the basic breakdown of my new build. That's what we're rocking. We did end up swapping over all of the gems as well. So a lot of this is going to be a work in progress. Some of these are excellent, for example, like for my gems for my armor, I've got the final damage reduction, which is incredible. Global HP, which is pretty good. Extra global damage for skills learn. Some of this, I got combo hits, which is a really nice one. Global attack. Gems that are generally very, very strong for this particular build. My accessories are incredible. I got ignore and control immunity rate on a transcendent gem and reducing the attack after we deal direct damage to an enemy, which is incredible. So we've got really nice uniques on some of these. So some of the gems ended up being pretty nice. I did re-roll some of them, but that was a big process as well. The last thing that I need to do is swap over my double S Arcana. You might have noticed already these don't have like a little outline, and I will be working through this. that was the last step. So let me go ahead and, now that I've gotten all that done with, we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do here, because if you look, I actually only have 2 swap talismans left, so I can get rid of the Judgment Ring here, as well as the Aileron Sword, and get most of my materials back. And then we can work on the Grail and the Elenos' Creed later on. But we can get some basic double S Arcanas out already. So let me go ahead and do that real quick and then give you the final result of my entire build swap. All right, guys, we're back for the final time. 253 billion combat power. So those Arcanas really doing some work, actually. As we move into the Arcanas here, you can see just got the Dragon Pearl Ring and the Grand's Wrath here. Both of these are pretty nice. You know, double damage trigger chance is increased, which is a big upgrade. This one just giving you the cooldown reduction, which is really, really nice for the effect here. And then A5 tier smash is must get. You get 50% extra basic attack crit rate, which is huge for amping up your damage. For the Helios Warblade, the 2 things that really work together is combo damage coefficient and then any base attack crit rate to really accelerate that even further. That's the idea here. A10 is also really, really good, as that's just going to give you ramping final basic attack damage. So that's the next goal, which is why I have some shards left over. I have the Bloodstained Grail, and I also do have the Elenos' Creed, which I will eventually swap out. It's going to require 2 more swap talismans, which is a little bit unfortunate. I might just go ahead and slot those into the Helios Warblade. Just to get a little bit of value here in terms of, well, extra damage coefficient. But it is pretty bad. Like, the actual effect here really doesn't give you a whole lot of damage, since most of your damage is combo based and basic attack. Reinhardt's Resolve, you know, just getting it, giving extra resurrection HP. Part of this is just like, these are very weak effects, so I don't really care about them in terms of pure progression, but it's also nice just to have them unlocked. So I have to like kind of balance whether I want the big glowy thing on my screen or if I should just go for the right progression, which is a 10 tiered smash. So a little bit of upgrades there, which is really, really nice. And that pretty much finishes it off for now. So now the ultimate goal, because I haven't really progressed a whole lot in terms of a lot of my like random chapters and stuff. I haven't been really motivated to, because it hasn't been super fun, but now that's the game plan. And that's going to take me a long time. So I'm going to have to sit down, hunker down, get some chapters in, get some battles in, see how well this is performing, how my PvP goes, and all that good stuff. And, you know, part of this is remember, I'm not a spender on this game. I have my like lifetime card, and that's the only purchase I've ever really made, is just like the basic cards, right? I actually don't even remember how to get to the, there we go. The ad-free card and the lifetime card. Those are the 2 purchases that I made a long time ago, and that's pretty much all I've ever done. So because of that, you know, I'm not really like trying to compete at the highest echelons of PvP or do this, that, or the other thing. What I want is for it to be fun, and I want the daily activities to be faster. What that means is if I'm going through here and I'm, let's say, I should check my boats anyways, by the way, but if I'm going to go ahead and go through here and do my loots, right? And I'm like, oh, I really kind of want to go for like some of these legendary tier boats or like these epic tier boats. And if I'm here and I'm like, oh man, this guy's got a good amount of combat power, like 250, and I can't beat this because my build's not really that fantastic, or, you know, I haven't upgraded it all the way, then that's definitely something that I would love to correct. Again, it doesn't have to be like super amazing or anything, but any little bit of extra convenience, you know, instead of spending 5 to 10 minutes, I spend like 2 to 3 minutes on something like this to skip through, or, you know, I don't have to like refresh it all that much to find someone that I actually can beat with still reasonable resources. That's the kind of goal that I have in mind, is just to make my game plan a little bit more convenient, and of course progress further, which will allow me to get more and more resources. And we've got a lot more progression to be doing. There's still a bunch of gem slots open, which is huge, right? I have a lot of the weapons, but I just happen to have a lot of Blade of Justice because I did so many S rank gear boxes on the weapon early on. There's still some +2ing of the Undead Pirate that can happen. There is still the brands, right? I still have Legendary Vulture that I'm not even at. I still have the potential to go Mythic White Tiger, Mythic Undead Swordsman. Undead Swordsman is probably the one that it's easiest to get And then I can even slot in the mythic white robe wizard. So those are all big progression upgrades. The other thing that I wanted to know is I do not have the inheritance. So this is a little bit of a damper. I do really want to try and progress this as much as I can. Elite packs are going to be very, very critical in this one. And it might be that with this, I will have to, well, maybe I don't want to downgrade. I mean, the thing is I can downgrade and get some elite packs here back, and it's not a big deal since, the actual, like, mythic effect of Ghost Princess doesn't do anything. All I care about is the actual skill. So that might be the game plan there. We'll have to see. But in general, that's where I'm at, guys. It's been a long time in the making, but I'm finally here, and I'm excited to give you all kind of my review on everything that's happening with the Helios Warblade. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all for the next one.